Hey friends, there was a lot in this Week in Destiny article. I'll link in the description as usual. I'm going to rapid fire these and try to read as fast as I can. Just the highlights that caught my eye that make me excited to play the game more. So let's start with first of all, skipping the artifact because reading that is just going to cause depression. And then we're going to go over to Hunter Lucky Pants. Now provides movement bonuses, including increased slide distance and sprint speed when a hand cannon is equipped. Airborne effectiveness whenever a hand cannon is equipped, not just when the illegally modded holster buff is active. I have such a bad habit of activating, Lucky Pants when I don't even have the exotic equipped, so... Editor's note, this combined with the text mechanical armor on a last word is going to be crazy. Maybe that'll break the habit. No longer requires the hand cannon to be matched to super damage, PvE, we don't care about the PvE nerf. Moving on to Titan, because I didn't care about the rest of the Hunter stuff. I recently did an Icewall Mantle video talking about how much I didn't like it, and they just juiced it. Almost every negative about it is just gone. It's a lot better, and honestly, might be a meta pick. We'll see. Mask of the Quiet One now provides Devour for rapid final blows, or when you're weak, you can Devour. So this is like an inverse of One-Eyed Mask. You can use the Void Fragment to give you an overshield whenever you're critically wounded. And honestly, I might like this more than One-Eyed Mask for the way that I play, since it doesn't have to be a single target. It can be any target if you get shot by two players at once. Next up is Stoicism, the exotic class item on Titan. You can now use Thruster to activate Kepri's Horn, Alpha Loopy, and Hoarfrost, which is very, very cool. A lot of players are leaning more towards Thruster, even though Barricade is still really good and probably better in a lot of cases. Warlock gets Sanguine Alchemy wall hacks. I believe you have to first hit the target, which is honestly a fair change considering what Knucklehead does right now. Now let's talk about weapon buffs that make me excited. The Heavy Burst Pulse Rifle frame that's like Graviton Lance is getting an RPM and damage buff, so it's going to be a lot more consistent. I already value, let's say, using Dragon Shadow and Radiant with the Trials Aisha's one to get the clean 2 burst, and it's going to be even better. Might use it even over Elsie's rifle, we'll see. The Elsie's frame is also getting a very small nerf. Gonna be virtually unnoticeable if you were hitting yellow numbers anyway. A note I noticed was more trace rifle ammo. Adaptive SMGs like Hero's Burden. Gonna be a little bit better on the body shot, so I might have to pull that out. Precision autos got a buff. High impact autos got a buff. Heavy burst hand cannons got a buff. And aggressive scouts got a buff. Excited to use all of those. Very, very slight differences that I'll probably notice with damage boosters and surges, just to summarize all of them together. Next up is exotic weapons. Huckleberry now has kinetic tremors, which is going to be crazy with Shadewinder. Teraba against Ignorant Hammer is going to be awesome because they do less damage now when I proc the perk. Teraba was already a go-to. I might have to rotate Huckleberry in there now though. Bad Juju has an extension on the String of Curses, which makes it a lot more usable. It had a variety of buffs in the past, but I think this is the one that pushes it from good to great. Fighting Lion now has Volatile, which can have some interesting interactions with proccing, let's say, wall hacks on Hunter. Next noticeable thing is that Slice now works correctly in the Crucible. Skull emoji, this is going to be hell to play against. I definitely advise you get a better Devils before it goes away. New weapon mods. The one that catches my eye is a 15% flinch reduction. This is incredible and might be my best in slot, even over Icarus, even over Radar Booster. And then, because some of the old weapons I don't exactly like their zoom values, but I like the weapon model and the way it looks, we now have optic mods that allow you to change the zoom. I almost wish that there was a second mod slot specifically for the optics. This just seems like a quality of life that we've needed in the game for a very long time, and I hope that they can iterate on this and add more options in the future. So now let's talk about new weapons. As far as the Dark Ether Harvest, or whatever this is called, Origin Trait, whatever, I'm most excited about the hand cannon. Stasis aggressive frame that's like Cromel's dagger. Ignorant Hammer, etc. This one has Adrenaline Junkie, and you can still get that with the Moon Hand Cannon, but considering I'm going to play Prism and probably throw a Magnetic Grenade on Hunter, I can get some real easy 2-taps and still use Bakris to extend the range and or forgiveness of the hand cannon with maybe one stack of Adrenaline Junkie. So I'm curious to see what these redacted perks on. It's going to completely change the way I look at some of these weapons as more than side grades. Next up is craftable Guardian of Salvation weapons, and I'm not 100% sure if they're adding perks to the perk pool or refreshing the perk pool completely to where we can't get some of the original combos. I'm going to assume that they're adding to it and retaining some of the perks that made them special in the first place. So let's go with Zealot's Reward Fusion Rifle. It still holds up, still a competitive fusion rifle to this day. Ancient Gospel got changed from Solar to Void and now has the Kindled Orchid combo, a Rampage kill clip to get you 2-taps. I think the better combo is going to be using Slide Shot and Swashbuckler, if that's still available, on Prism Titan, because punching with Knockout activates Radiant. And so what this means is you can 2-tap after punching, and that's going to happen because you're making diamond lances all over the place. And since you're probably running the throwing accents, since it's the fastest super, this just makes sense. However, there is one negative with Ancient Gospel, kind of like the Kingsfall hand cannon. The gun model itself isn't very nice to shoot, but that might not be a deal breaker anymore because it's so meta relevant. Prophet of Doom might be a craftable Matador depending on what perks exist. Threat Remover might need a rework for PvP to be useful because Threat Detector just does so much. Omniscient Eye has both No Distractions and Snapshot. You could also get Mulligan in Snapshot, which is very, very useful. Playlist weapons. Let's talk about the Trials ones from that last TWAB. I believe it was a Heavy Burst Hand Cannon, so Warden's Law, and a Void Rocket. Maybe I used Bakris with it to get a 2-burst. I know it had Zen Moment on it. I'm probably going to farm a decent roll, but if it doesn't do anything that my Warden's Law can do, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, Pursuit. Fair Judgment, Stasis Precision Auto Rifle. Again, a Bakris combo. Maybe a Balador's combo. Anonymous Autumn. Somewhere True Vanguard just reinstalled the game. He's back. It's a really good sidearm, though. It slaps. Competitive Deadlock, Stasis Precision Frame Shotgun. Could be a Fractithis replacement. This is a huge one. If you catch anything on this video, it is this. We now have a Stasis Aggressive Glaive, which means it's in the kinetic slot, and it's the best frame. This is a game changer. This offers so many more combos, and dare I say, I might be a Glaive main now, depending on if I like the new exotic Rocket Jump combo better than Tommy's Matchbook with Mountaintop, because that is probably my go-to fun loadout when I clock out of content creation. One of my favorites in the game. Next up below it is Plug 1, which might get a perk refresh that makes fusion rifles more relevant again. In Gambit, Bygones has potential to be great because there are 12 perks. The chances of you getting something like Slide Shot and High Impact Reserves again is really, really high, and that combo is hilarious because you can dump it down to the bottom and get a slightly faster than LC's rifle 2-burst. So very, very fun weapon. I know Nerve out there is installing the game again. No, he never uninstalled. Neither did True Vanguard. Just making jokes. Iron Banner, Archon's Thunder might be a competitor to Hammerhead, and that pretty much covers my highlights of this TWID. There's definitely more than I covered, but those are the things that make me excited to grind more. Once again, getting the perfect gear, the perfect loadout makes me play more, not less. So I hope that they have some more deterministic levers to help me work towards that and not spend time in an activity that's boring when I could just be playing PvP and enjoying myself. See y'all in the next one. Take care.